In today's video, we are going to be talking about what exactly is a pension fund. What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Afzal Hussain. You can find out a bit more about me through the social media links below, or you can check out my website, which is www.afzalhussain.com. Before we get into the video, I want to say a really big thank you to Blinkist, who are kindly sponsoring this video. Now, if you're unaware of Blinkist, I highly recommend you go and check out the app. You can find it on the Google Play Store or on the App Store. What Blinkist does, it basically summarizes thousands of books into 15-minute bite-sized summaries. So if you haven't got time to read the thick version of a book, you can easily go on the Blinkist app and listen to it on the audio version in a summarized version of 15 minutes, or you can literally just read the key points from the book on your train journey or whenever you want on the app. I'm going to talk about Blinkist a bit more towards the end of the video, and 100 of you lucky viewers will be able to get a discounted price by clicking in the link in the video description below. Simply put, a pension fund or a pension pot or a pension plan is basically a pot of money that provides retirement income. So when you and I retire, we're going to need to live off money. We might have money saved up, but right now when we're working, we can invest money into our retirement, and that's where a pension pot comes in. It's a large sum of money that is being invested in order to pay me and you when we retire. Now, there are two key types of pension schemes. Now, the first type is defined contribution, and the second type is defined benefit. Defined benefit is being rolled out because it's old school and it was actually really good. Defined contribution, on the other hand, is what's around for the most part today. So most employers, most companies, most individuals that you speak to are likely to be on defined contribution pension schemes. What is a defined contribution or DC pension scheme, and what is a DB or defined benefit pension scheme? Defined benefit, it's old school, so it's being rolled out slowly, and what it is, or what it was, is basically a pension scheme where you put money in, and every month you contribute money into this pension pot, and what you can expect in return is guaranteed. So your benefit is defined. So when you retire later on, every month you get your salary and you contribute towards your pension pot, and that grows and grows and grows. And when you reach the age of 65 or 67, whatever it might be, when you retire, you will have a benefit or a sum of money for you to be paid off in order to live in your retirement. How this differs from the defined contribution pension schemes is that defined contribution pension schemes are basically schemes where your sum of money that you're going to get when you retire isn't guaranteed. And the reason for that is because when you invest in a DC or a defined contribution pension scheme, all of your money, it might grow, it might shrink, but it's determined by the outcome of the financial markets in which you invest. Let's say you are working for, let's take a company, Amazon. You're an employee at Amazon. Every month you get your salary, and from that salary you put a bit of money into your pension scheme. Now this is a DC, so defined contribution pension scheme, and that grows. Now Amazon takes that money and it gives it to BlackRock, it gives it to JP Morgan Asset Management, it gives it to PIMCO, etc. And it gives parts of that money to each of those asset managers. They invest it into the financial markets in order to make that pot grow. However, when you invest in the financial markets, nothing is guaranteed. And so ideally you would want that pot to grow. So when you retire, your pension, your DC pension scheme from Amazon can pay you in your retirement so you can live happily ever after. However, if that pension scheme shrinks because the financial markets aren't doing too well, because it's hard to find good returns in this economic environment, whatever reason it might be, if that pot shrinks, that means when you retire, you're going to have a small pot to withdraw from, or you might have no money coming in whatsoever. So it's a lot more riskier. The reason for DC schemes, it kind of, it's less risk for the employer, it's more risk for the individual. One of the main reasons why there's been a move from DB to DC is because DB was very expensive. When you're guaranteeing people's pensions and you're saying when you retire you're going to get this much given how much you put into the pot, that is a lot more expensive and it's a lot more costly to do, as opposed to investing in the financial markets and letting that risk play out into the financial markets. So it doesn't fall on the employer to say, all right, we're going to give you this much for sure. It's kind of dependent on how the pot is invested. So that's very important. Now, one more thing about the defined benefit schemes. The benefits that you are guaranteed kind of depend on how long you worked at the organization, how much you've contributed, what your salary is. So there are a number of factors that determine how much you're guaranteed to get from your pension pot, compared to when you're in a defined contribution scheme where you give a certain amount every month, but you don't know how much you're going to get when you retire. Why do asset managers care about pension schemes? Most companies, if not all, will have a pension scheme. All these companies, whether it's Facebook, Google, Amazon, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Argus, Sainsbury's, whatever it might be, they are going to have this pension pot. They're not financial markets experts. They don't know how to invest, right? And so they need to go to investment experts or consultants in order to invest this money because they want it to grow. That's where the asset managers come in, because they are experts at investing into the financial markets. So let's say Apple, for example, the Apple pension scheme, it needs to be invested. They might invest some of their money with PIMCO, some of it with BlackRock, and those asset managers go and invest that according to Apple's preferences or investment guidelines. And so that's where pension schemes kind of fit into asset managers. Pension schemes are a large client in asset managers. There are also insurance clients, there are pension schemes, there are sovereign wealth funds, there are retail investors, there are high net worth individuals and family offices when we focus on private banking. And so, you know, there are many clients, and one of the big clients are corporate pension schemes. What are the benefits of investing in a pension scheme? Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, what's the point of me putting some of my salary into a pension pot every month? Isn't it risky? There's a risk that I might lose my money. True, there is a risk that you will lose your money and the size of the pot might shrink, but there are some benefits. Every pound that you put into your pension scheme is tax free, so you don't pay tax on the money you put into your pension scheme or your pension pot. Also, another benefit, and this is like free money, every pound you put in, your company will match it. This is the case for most companies or many companies. Check what your company's policies are first, but for a lot of companies, one of the perks is every pound you put in, they will match it. So the more you put in, the more free money you get, and all of that is also tax free. Another benefit, depending on if you're okay with claiming interest, is that, you know, if you start really early, over a career of 30, 40, 50 years, the compound interest effect will be huge on any investments or contributions towards your pension pot. And then last but not least, if you are on a DB, defined benefit scheme, you know, it's kind of like guaranteed income. Whereas yes, on a DC scheme, defined contribution, nothing is guaranteed, but you get the benefits of what I've previously mentioned. What are the costs of using or investing in a pension scheme? First and foremost, it is very illiquid. Now, what does that mean? Illiquid basically means you won't have access to your money rapidly. So cash is very liquid. I can go and pull out cash from the cash machine. I can access it from a bank. However, if I put my money into a pension pot, it's kind of locked up for a long period of time. If I want to take that money out early, it's going to take a hit. So any profits that I've made will take a hit. And so it's a very illiquid investment. In addition to that, pension schemes can be quite confusing. Not many people understand them. Not many people are specialists or experts in pension schemes, and oftentimes when you talk about pensions and all of that, people tend to shy away or move away from the topic because there's a lack of understanding. And so a lack of understanding and clarity can, you know, cloud your judgment in investing in them. And then one other cost is you risk having poor returns. So if you're investing over a long period, you know, some years might be good, some years might be bad, but the last thing you want is your general trend to be negative. And so it comes with the risk of poor returns. So that's something to be aware of. Oftentimes when we hear the word pension or pension pot, pension schemes, pension fund, we kind of get bored or disinterested, and it's because it's a boring subject, right? And rather than reading a huge book on pensions, I would personally rather use my time in a different way or read different topics. And this is where Blinkist comes in. What Blinkist does is it condenses thousands of books into 15-minute readables or bite-sized audio books. And I personally have been using it, and it's very, very useful, especially if you're in the gym or if you're commuting, if you're on the train, whether you want to read or whether you want to listen. You can consume a lot of information in a very short period of time, and it's straight to the point. They basically give you the best bits of the books that you're interested in. So for example, I wanted to find out a bit more about pensions to create this video because I wanted to make sure the information I was giving you was legit. So this is the Blinkist app, and it gives you a selection of books based on your interests and preferences. If we go into the library here, you will see this book here. There it is, Your Retirement Salary. So I recently read that in order to prepare. I highly recommend you go and check it out. And rather than reading a whole, you know, hard copy book on pensions, which can be quite boring, I thought, you know what, I might as well read this book. It touches on a number of topics which are relevant for this video. And so look, this is the app. That's one section, second section, and it gives you all the key information that you need to know. And so that's how I kind of prepared for this video. On the app there's lots of categories so you can explore what you're interested in, and it focuses on a range of topics: autobiographies, non-fiction, and it basically summarizes more than 3,000 books into 15-minute bite-sized readables and audio clips. Personally, I use Blinkist in the gym, on my commute, so on the train, and whenever I have small pockets of time where I don't have a hard copy book on me and I've just got my phone, and so I listen to some of the audiobooks there. The first 100 of you can benefit from a free trial for 1 week on the Blinkist app, and if you really like it, you can purchase the full membership for 25% discount. So you get 25% discount off the full membership, and it's very important to note you can cancel it whenever you want. So I highly recommend you check it out, and those of you interested, click the link in the video description below. And yeah, leave a comment if you do go for Blinkist. Let me know what you think of it, because personally I haven't seen another app like it, and I personally really like it. So let me know what you think. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That will help me a lot. If you aren't already, do subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications. And if you've got any comments, leave them below, in addition to any video suggestions that you want me to make going forward. And I will see you in the next video next week. Peace.